I am so sorry I'm late, guys. I had to push back a little bit the time. I'm sorry. I apologize. I hate one of my biggest pet peeves, and shout out to everybody that's coming in. One of my biggest pet peeves, I'll tell you right now, um, because I had to leave my career of so many years, of 10 years in government. Um, so one of the biggest pet peeves, and part of it is because it was a leadership position, is I hated being late and I hated those that were late. Like I hated it. It's my biggest pet peeve. So I apologize. I'm putting myself on timeout for being late, Peekaboo. I saw you in the chat. Sorry about that. It is. It's my biggest pet peeve. One of the things I don't know why. It's either I'm always too early, but I'm never too late. Just because I just never know what to expect. And uh, my thing is my ADHD is so horrible sometimes that I will get distracted easy. So I make it a point to always be early for things, no matter what. Hey, Pink, welcome back to the membership. Shout out to you. Hey there. Things do happen, my love. Things do happen. Um, but you know what? I mean, Baby Bunny's the CEO of this channel, so I get a little wiggle room sometimes. All right, guys, make sure you hit the like button as you're coming in. Let me shout out all these beautiful, wonderful members. Dee Dee, welcome. Peekaboo. Let's see. Gambi's in the house. Pink Bolo. Who else do I have? Brienne, welcome. Yes, and please make sure you hit that like button. Shout out to Brienne, who's also our mod. Let me salute everybody else. Quinn, Michelle. Absolutely. I appreciate you in the glare. Shout out to the glare. Um, I appreciate him too. He is so in I didn't know that the glare was Dominican. I mean, that's awesome because I hear it in his and now I'm starting to see little mannerisms that he does. So shout out to you, Glare. Yo no sabía que eres dominicano, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Okay, Pixie. I think it would be different if she were doing investigative work, but not going to say you've been there. You've been there is pretty tasteless. Got you. Sorry, I like read that kind of funny. Cheesy Wheezy. I love your name. Hey Quinn, welcome guys. Make sure you drop what flag if you're international, where you're from, what side of the world. Thank you guys. Oh, my love, don't worry, man. We all got them. We all got them. So you don't feel like, guys, time is hard. I appreciate those that join membership and want to support, but okay, shit happens. I mean, times are hard. Okay. So, hey, Marie, I just got here, Rabbit. Welcome. Welcome. Yes. 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 Priorities. It's Baby Bunny. Blame it on Baby Bunny. Hey, Esther. Babies always come first. Yes, they do. Hey, Care Bear. I am feeling a little bit better, but this, like, for those that are still kind of healing from the virus, so I'm negative. All of us are negative now. Okay. We're all negative. Thank God. But there is like this leftover congestionness that just doesn't seem to go away. It has been, shoot, when did I get it? I got it the 31st, literally New Year's Eve. Okay. And it's been, we're what, on day 15th? What day of the year? Day 13th of the year? It's been ongoing. It stays. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. Shout out to you. All right, Alberta, Canada. Alberta, Canada. See how I say it in Spanish? Alberta. Hey, Stuck on Strings. Yes, welcome to you. I'm sure everybody's got a hectic schedule, guys. There's been a lot of shit going on. We're only on the 13th day of the year, okay? It seems to get interesting. Hey, Teresa, welcome. Awesome, awesome. You guys come on in, come on in. Hey, business. I was negative after a week and still went to Christmas because it was negative, and my cousin or kids got it from me. Tickle me, Trisha. This is interesting. Yeah, people do. People, I don't know, guys. It's a virus. It's going around. It passes around. I don't think that these testing kits are very good either. Like they're not a great indicator. I think we really have to just listen to our bodies. And that's why even after I tested negative, I still felt very shitty, you know? So yeah, like symptoms stay there. Symptoms stay there. And that's why like don't rush it. You got to heal. You have to just and then there's sometimes, you get the error test so you're not using it correctly. That could happen as well. You just never know. You never know. I mean, you know what? And I hope that they feel better. You know what I'm saying? I hope that they feel better. But anyways, and he says, "Oop, I clicked out the wrong answer. Hey, infamous, welcome. Sometimes tests aren't accurate. You're absolutely right. Well, let me check out this poll, guys. Let me check out this poll, so we can get right to it. All right, because shout out to Ikamel yesterday. So it was kind of funny because I was in the chat when he was talking about. He had actually contacted me. Okay, when you guys remember a couple days ago, if you were in my live, we were talking about Nancy Grace. And we had said, how come Nancy Grace isn't like back on Shanquella Robertson? We need her to advocate. And then you guys helped me retweet. He messaged me and he's like, hey, Rabbit, did you Photoshop the picture with Nancy Grace with the Idaho 4? And I said, no, I'm not Joseph Morris. Like, what the hell? I said, no, dude, I didn't. Um, if you went to what I did was I saw Nancy Grace on her Twitter, Nancy Grace, and she had a bunch. It wasn't just that picture specifically. There was a lot of pictures of Nancy Grace um, there. Behind, like the Idaho 4. A lot of you guys thought that it was a Photoshop thing, and it wasn't. It was on Nancy Grace's Twitter page. Okay, I mean here's one right there. See, right there, right? And so a lot of people thought that it was Photoshop, and so people were like, "Well, maybe it's just a backdrop." No, dude. And if you even look closer, you can actually. What really struck me about this scene right here is I wasn't sure if this was part of production, as of their production, but you have the do not cross tape as well, and then you have these individuals back here. I'm assuming are police as well that are working. I think they were working on the cleanup around that time. If you guys can see that, yeah, yeah. So a lot of people were, yeah, he thought you made no, I was like, "No, no, dude, I did not crop Nancy Grace." You've always loved and I will tell you, let me cough a little bit. Marie says my screen is black on her end. You're gonna have to click off and click back in. That does happen sometimes, depending on the device. Cressy says, "Yeah, we're gonna talk about that." But I said, "No, dude, I didn't I did not crop it." Dude, I thought I was when he said that, I seriously thought that people had already seen it. I must have been one of the first ones on YouTube to have seen this picture on Twitter. I mean, because it was early morning, um, when all of this kind of went down. Let me see if I can go back. But yeah, this is her, right? People thought that it was a like a green screen or something, and it was not. It was not. This was her. So people are mad, right? So it was so funny because when he was talking about it yesterday, I mean, everybody was under the assumption that it was a green screen. It was not. Let me see why I can't. There we go. Sorry, my MacBook's acting kind of funny. Well, it is continued to go on Twitter. I mean, Nancy Grace is trending on Twitter, and not for the right reasons. Okay, people. Not only is it Twitter, you got the state of Idaho. People are mad at her. Period. And people, you guys are in the chat saying it's tasteless. But I thought that the poll that, I mean, and of course, Mel had a lot more people on his chat last night, but the poll was very interesting. But see, now you guys are saying something different. I said, Nancy Grace, insensitive or nah? If 44% are saying yes, insensitive, touring the area. No, it's no different than others. I should have put then or then. Anyways, 32% said not really sure how I feel. So between 43% saying that it's insensitive to 32% saying that they don't really know how they feel. The thing about Nancy Grace, and I don't want to take away from the good because she's done some pretty good stuff. Okay, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people. I'm still here, Marie. I'm still here, and hopefully you guys can hear me. A lot of people don't necessarily know the other side of Nancy Grace, right? How many of you guys are familiar with a case by the name of Melinda Duckett? Melinda Duckett was before Casey Anthony. Drop a rabbit on the chat. Maybe I should survey everybody on this one because I would like to know the numbers on here right here. Let me end this poll real quick and let me get this poll going. How many of you guys know of a case? Do you know the Melinda Duckett? case? It's yes or no. Yes or no. Go ahead and answer that. And while you're in there, please hit the like button. I have 143 people in the chat. Please hit the like button, guys. That would help us out a lot in the algorithm. How many of you guys, Karma says yes. Okay, make sure you guys answer the poll. She went Hollywood, as I would say. I mean, you've been following? Okay. Christopher Van, do you know about a case by the name of Melinda Duckett? Probably, maybe. Anybody? This was before Casey Anthony. Okay, because I feel like Nancy Grace became a household name after Casey Anthony. Like, if we didn't really know her, look, this is perfect. I have 58 votes. I'm going to tell you about Melinda Duckett, okay? 62 votes. So 15% of you have said yes. All right. 86% of you has said no. You don't know who Melinda Duckett is. Well, let's talk about Melinda Duckett, because this was a case that kind of stood out to me that made me look at kind of reporting a little bit different. All right. It is a case that I'm sure Nancy Grace isn't wanting to talk about ever again. Yep. Thank you. It is about a boy. Not familiar with the name, maybe the story. Is that the lady who unalived herself after she was interviewed with Nancy Grace? Yes, Sheila. Yes. Is it Shyla? It's Shyla's, right? I don't want to say your name wrong. I'm sorry. Remind me, though, if I said it wrong. Not familiar with, yes. But that is correct. She unalived herself after the interview. You absolutely remember? You guys remember? Some of you guys remember. They did sue her. They did. Yes. But it goes to show, guys, I think the Melinda Duckett case is a good example of, like, whether it's YouTube or Nancy Grace or whatever other network might be out there, like, what can we do different in this situation? You guys know Nancy Grace reminds me of Kelly Siegler a little bit. And if you guys know who Kelly Siegler is, you have it. Okay, so a lot of you guys have different perspectives in the chat as well. She's been fired by many networks. She's just a different. Hey, Blue, thank you so much for the $2, my love. You watched the original interview. You did. Look at that. So some of you guys, it's coming in. There is so much to learn from here. I believe so. I believe so. Let's watch this little flashback. This is from, like, I think this is from like 2006. Okay, this is really old. Okay, let's watch this. Let's see.
A lawsuit against cable host Nancy Grace, accusing her of intentionally inflicting emotional distress on a guest who committed suicide the next day. A judge has ruled that Grace's testimony can be videotaped, but her attorneys are fighting back. And Chris Cuomo explains why.
No, that is not what I said.
Television host Nancy Grace is known for her interrogation-style interviews. But in September 2006, she was the one under fire when 21-year-old Melinda Duckett committed suicide after a phone interview on Grace's show.
Where were you? Why aren't you telling us where you were that day?
Duckett was the mother of missing 2-year-old Trenton Duckett, who had disappeared from his bedroom that August.
Why aren't you telling us and giving us a clear picture where you were before your son was kidnapped?
Because I'm not going to put those kind of details out.
Why?
Because I was told not to.
Grace continued to press Duckett, at one point hinting she was hiding something.
Miss Duckett, you're not telling us for a reason. What is the reason? You refuse to give even the simplest facts of where you were with your son before he went missing.
Duckett committed suicide the very next day, hours before her interview aired on Grace's CNN headline news program. When I spoke with Grace just a week later, she was unapologetic.
I think it happened because Melinda Duckett may very well know where her son was. If anything, I would suggest guilt caused her to commit suicide.
But Duckett's family disagrees and has spent the past 4 years in a legal battle with Grace and CNN, claiming Grace's intentional infliction of emotional distress led Duckett to commit suicide.
The family believes Nancy Grace caused Melinda Duckett's suicide.
And in a surprising turn, Grace, a woman who's made her living in front of the cameras, is now trying to hide from them. In a motion obtained by ABC News, Grace's lawyers argue videotaping her testimony could lead to, quote, annoyance, embarrassment, oppression, and undue harm should the videotape be released prior to trial. For Good Morning America, Chris Cuomo, ABC News, New York.
Ooh, all right, all right. Now, some of you guys, thank you, Blue, for joining the membership. Some of you guys might have been familiar with this. Some of you guys might have not. Okay. Some of you guys knew. If I'm being honest, I've always thought Nancy Grace was a bully. Her, and I think I like Kelly Siegler as well. I like. Don't get me wrong. There's some certain tactics that I like Nancy Grace on, and some that I don't. I appreciate that. I think that she has a level of advocacy that is important, but in comparison to some of the things that we see here, like say like the YouTubers, for example, the Betty Bullhorn lady, for example, she to me, I think, has decided to study certain aspects of Nancy Grace. Like I see Betty Bullhorn Betty, whatever the hell you call her, and I feel like she has taken certain recipes from her book to amplify her advocacy. And I say that I really do. It, I feel like sometimes it can be helpful in the right places, but sometimes as it's not. Now, the thing about Nancy Grace is you have somebody who is educated, who went to school, who has many, many years in the field. And to a certain degree, I think she has paved the way, right, for so many other people that want to do the same things that she wants, that she does. But even Nancy Grace has an angle to do certain things, whereas the YouTubers, not so much, right? Like, what gives you the right to accuse Dylan, for example, of or blame her? What if Dylan? Let's just give the scenario, okay? What if Dylan had agreed to do an interview with one of these YouTubers, right? And then she gets blamed or dragged during these interviews, right? And then Dylan says, this is too much. The guilt of this is too much to deal with. And then she decides to S herself. These are things that we don't ever really think about. I mean, and this is somebody who, Nancy Grace, I mean, has had the following for many years, right? So I find it so interesting because I think that um, there is a tactic and a time and place for things like that, but it's not always warranted. That's right. She just looks like the full Montana's like, look, the Bullhorn Betty lady does not have the education. You're absolutely right. She doesn't. But in my opinion, I think that the Bullhorn lady has taken a page from Nancy Grace and has decided to make it her own. I mean, that's what I've noticed. Because every time I see her, it's always this tactic, very unapologetic about what she said. And Nancy Grace was unapologetic about the situation. I mean, she was just kind of waiting for court and she wouldn't comment on it anymore. The murder of her fiance truly affected her. And I think that the angry pills spills. Angry pills. Angry anger spills over onto these cases. Krusty, I agree. Um, to a certain extent. I think that I'll never forget the interview that Mel played yesterday. Mel played yesterday an interview, and there was something from like 20 plus years ago, when Nancy had the Aquanet hairstyle. Okay, she said something in there. She said that the her having been a victim fuels her. So she puts all these pimps and all these bad people behind bars. And this is what she called them. She said all these pimp and all these bad people behind bars, right? And it fuels her. This woman has remarried since. I believe she has her own children at this point. How long can you drive that? How long can that last, right? At some point, you're going to have to figure out how to heal from that because the fact that the victim part and that takes time for a lot of people, don't get me wrong. But to have that be the driving factor as to why you go after people is very concerning to me. And part of it is that someone that has worked in the field of social work, that has both worked with the accused and with those that are, you know, both sides, once you understand the other side and have a little bit of empathy, it makes things a little bit different. This lady who Melinda Duckett was 21 years old, 21 years old, young mom, right? We don't know what else happened, ins and outs, being accused of this, right? Think of it of this way, right? This was before Casey Anthony. This was before Casey Anthony. And now you have Quentin Simon too, right? So these are things that we don't ever really think about. This is like the other side of true crime. Empathy, rabbit gone crazy time. I mean, it's just something that, in my opinion, that is like, in order to really listen to somebody, you have to be able to kind of tune in a little bit to that. And they have no empathy. Right, right, right. Right, right, right. I hear you. Why don't you say where you were? You're hiding something. Also, Nancy, no comment. Sally. So it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act, you know. Um, but yeah, where do you guys land with this? Let's keep watching this and let me know, because some of you guys have never really heard of Duckett. This might be a first, but this was a lawsuit. Okay, this did happen.
And the little boy, Trenton Duckett, still has not been found. Joining us now from Los Angeles with more on this case, renowned defense attorney Dana Cole. Dana, thank you for being with us this morning. And we learned overnight that the judge has ruled that despite her efforts, Nancy's deposition will be videotaped. Not really surprising here?
Not even slightly surprising. Most states allow videotaping of deposition, and the irony is that Nancy Grace's lawyers had videotaped all of the plaintiff's witnesses, but when it came to Nancy Grace, who lives in front of the camera,
right,
that was all of a sudden something she didn't want to be a part of, which is kind of funny. But the judge made the right call there.
And so now she's going to strongly argue that it should not be seen anywhere, that shouldn't be leaked to a third party of any sort, right?
Well, yes, but that I can slightly understand, because depositions are, you don't want to taint a potential jury pool, so they want to preserve these depositions for time of trial. But at some point in time, I think those depositions might get released, perhaps after this case is concluded.
Describe the case for the plaintiffs, Melinda Duckett's family, for us a little bit more.
Sure. This is a woman who was psychologically, emotionally unstable. She appeared on Nancy's show. And the key issue really is, what was she told before going on the show? Nancy has never met a victim that she doesn't love and has never met a suspect that she wants to tar and feather. If that were permitted under law, she would be, the first to advocate for that. So she's tough when it comes to suspects and defendants, and loves victims. So the question is, how was this interview initially pitched to this woman? Was it that they were going to be sensitive, wanting to help her in her quest to find her child? Or were they a little less committal about how the interview was going to play out? And was there some sort of deception involved in trying to get her on the show?
Well, Nancy's passion is well documented, as you know. So what is her defense, Dana?
Well, her defense is that, hey, I'm a reporter. I have a right to ask any question I want. This lady voluntarily came on my show. And as the interview progressed, there were things that Melinda Duckett was saying that wasn't sitting well with Nancy, and she had a right to sort of follow up.
Did you hear her defense? Hey, I'm a reporter. She voluntarily came to my show. I have the right to ask, excuse me, I have the right to ask whatever. Okay, that was her defense. And I want to remind everybody, it was a lawsuit that was settled, okay? The boy, the two, Trenton, but he was like 2 at the time that he went missing, has not been found, right? And if he's found alive before his 13th birthday, his adoptive grandmother will gain control of the money. So there's money that has been set aside from this lawsuit, from the estate, basically, that he would have if he were found. And I don't think he has been found. But kind of giving you guys an idea, this was a lawsuit that they settled. All right, she fatally shot herself. Okay, and it. Even ABC reported it, that these questions that she would ask at this interview were very, very tough. We don't know what the mental stability of Melinda Duckett was at the time. We really don't. There has to be a differentiation between being passionate and bullying somebody. And one thing that Nancy Grace has done very well, she's a prosecutor, former prosecutor, right? So she knows what kind of questions to ask and how to get the answers and how to get a reaction. How many of you guys have done jury duty here? Okay. If you've ever done jury duty, um, you would know, and you're sitting there, you know what kind of questions. The questions that they're going to ask, depending on the case, is meant to get a rise or reaction of what is going on. Even the questions, even when you're questioned as a juror member, I remember being questioned. Okay, and it's supposed to get a rise out of you. And the attorneys are very selective, right? It's a numbers games at first when you're at jury duty, and then they start weeding down to 12 members. And then I remember some of the questions that they were asking us, and at the very end of the trial, we got to talk to the attorneys and we got to talk to the judge and everything. And I'll never forget the defense had said, "Oh, you were hand selected by the prosecutor and you voted this way. I'm a little surprised." This is what I'm saying. It's like they look at your background to figure out, well, what is her background? Okay, her background, she's worked with children. She's very black and white here. This is the kind of question I ask. This is somebody that I need in as a juror, because she's gonna, she could think this way. She can do things this way. This is a very interesting way to look at things, right? Yeah, she was an attorney, right? And that's what I'm saying. It's like, so she's coming in there. She is a reporter for the show, but her tactic and her skill set is in law. So she knows how to ask those questions. She knows how to get a rise out of people. She knows what works. That's what lawyers do, right? Just saying, but let's keep watching. But this was her defense. She's a reporter. She's gonna ask questions. She volunteered to be in the show. Blaming it to Melinda Duckett. I don't know if there was a mental health assessment that was done of Melinda before coming in. We don't know. Just imagine, right, having her kid being missing, and now she's being accused of it based on questioning. Oh, oh, okay. No worries, no worries. Yeah, she's a former prosecutor. Okay. I don't think she practices law right now, but that doesn't mean that the skill sets go away, you know?
Style is confrontational. She likes to cross-examine guests, and that's what she was doing. And there should have been no surprise. And Melinda Duckett was sort of fair game because she voluntarily appeared on the show. Additionally,
you saw the interview. Excuse me, Dana. You saw the interview. Do you think that Nancy Grace went too far?
You know, to be quite honest, I actually don't think she went too far because, she started off being, frankly, somewhat sensitive and gave Melinda Duckett an opportunity to offer all sorts of explanations. But then there was sort of a turn in the interview where Melinda Duckett became a little more secretive and less forthcoming. And that's when sort of Nancy went in for the kill, so to speak, and kept demanding answers that Melinda was not willing to give. So, I could see how the interview progressed, and it sort of did progress logically. So while I'm not a huge fan of Nancy, and a lot of criminal defense lawyers call her Nancy Disgrace, the fact is I don't think she necessarily went beyond the pale in this particular interview.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
She said, and to be mindful too, Melinda Duckett was named as a prime suspect in the disappearance of her son. Okay. She did refuse to take a lie detector test. Mike, are you laughing about the Nancy Disgrace? This was back in 2006, guys. So this is very much pretty old. Pretty old as far as how far back it went. Let's watch another one. Everybody's got a different reaction to this situation, okay? Excuse me. Yeah, and you guys can look up this case, Trenton Duckett. All right. I mean, there's Danielle Hallen who did a recent, or 2 years ago actually, video. I mean, it's out there. But mom committed suicide after appearing on Nancy Grace. And let's
very much for joining us. I've known
listen
you
to
a
Nancy
long
Grace.
time. You are a victim's advocate. I'm sure that you are very distressed by this. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. The focus is certainly not on me. And good morning. It's nice to see you, Chris. Long story short, Trenton Duckett still has not been found. And at this juncture, police are agreeing with me right now. They are now trying to search what we have now learned to be the most recent known whereabouts of Melinda Duckett just hours before Trenton Duckett went missing. What you just showed was the end of practically an hour-long televised broadcast there on Headline News, where for an hour, Melinda Duckett would not admit, she would not take a polygraph, would not give police a timeline, and now police are trying to construct that without the help of Trenton's mother.
And that's the whole question here, Nancy Grace. Do you feel responsible now that some of the information that could have helped police is gone forever with this mother? Do you feel that maybe your hardline stance may have made it more difficult to find this little boy?
Okay. And some of you guys in the chat, you guys said, somebody said it in here. Alma, shout out to you. In my opinion, I think Melinda knew what happened to her son. Do you guys feel like, well, if that is the case, she was named the prime suspect, right? With her appearance to Nancy Grace, whatever information that Melinda Duckett, if she did something, she basically took it with her. What do you guys think? Yes, that is Mr. Cuomo back in the day. Yes. What do you guys think about that? I mean, it- it- they settled, by the way. They settled, all right? But I'm just curious to know where everybody in the chat is at. I'm laughing at the Nancy Disgrace name. It's so fitting. I mean, that's a lot of people knew her like that, I guess. I don't know. Check out baby Chris Cuomo. If Nancy Grace didn't pave our way, we wouldn't be here. I see the argument both ways, to be quite honest with you. I'm not neither here nor for nor against Nancy Grace. I think her tactic can be a bit abrasive. Uh, she kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you guys can relate to this. You know how you have that, well, I have a parent specifically who can be very abrasive in the questioning. Did you do like it's very accusatory versus like, let me ask you to understand. To me, that's she's very abrasive that way, and we would not be very well. We would not mesh very well. I don't know. If you go on the tabloid news, what do you expect? That's a good question. That's a very good question. I don't know. I don't know. Where are you guys at with this? I'm not for it, and I'm not either. I'm kind of on the fence of it. She came in soft and being very assertive, and that's crazy. Like a light switch. She's an attorney. She knows how to turn it on and off. Do you think that she's giving new meaning to bipolar? I don't know if she's been diagnosed. I don't know. Jessica says what happened wasn't her fault. Jessica, it's and like I said, I don't. I'm neither. I'm reporting. I'm not Nancy Grace. I'm just reporting what I know and bringing some past information that a lot of people were not necessarily aware of as it pertains to Nancy Grace. That's why I turn when that's that that is, I'm trying to understand your question. That is why the turn went left because of the pressure. Ooh. See, but you guys are throwing in words, narcissistic bully. Well, if she is, they need to adjust her meds, in my opinion. She's always been a little unhinged. But Ikemel said last night, I thought it was interesting. He said to me, it sounds like she's turned more so Hollywood, right? Um, she's a little bit more Hollywood than your normal attorney. I want to think about all these other attorneys that don't necessarily come on to television shows. They might have their own podcast, like what is her name? The Allred, the daughter. What is her name? Allred daughter. Then you had Kelly Siegler, who had a show at some point. Kelly Siegler can be very abrasive. If you guys have ever seen any type of footage of her in the courtroom, I love Kelly Siegler. I love her tactic. Okay. Uh, she doesn't give me Nancy Grace. I feel like Kelly Siegler has a little bit of a softer side to her, but I don't know. What do you guys think? An innocent mother would not un unkay themselves if there was any chance that her child would return to be found alive. So do you feel like Lisa Bloom? Thank you, my love, Janice. Lisa Bloom is another one. She has a podcast. She's not as abrasive. I don't know. You think she's type A personality? Um, and some of the people, said that it was because of her guilt, right? That led her to that. But we don't know what mental health, we just don't know. There's some excellent YouTube legal peeps. Nancy isn't one of them. Yeah, but making it Hollywood makes the path for us in the internet, bringing us audience. Oof. Lord have mercy. You guys are going back and forth, back and forth. Yes, Lisa Bloom was the attorney I was thinking about. Teresa, Ter- Teresa says Nancy has them crazy eyes. She gonna end up interviewing herself one day. Stop it, Teresa. SW says abrasive on crack. All right, y'all are be now. You guys are being look at. I thought this would be like a very interesting, live to have because the topic matter is interesting, and they're still dragging her on Twitter. They're still dragging her on Twitter, but let's keep watching.
No, I don't. My interview followed hours and hours of police interrogation of Melinda Duckett. Unfortunately, Melinda Duckett had attempted suicide in the past. In fact, I now learn, according to the Orlando Sentinel, that DFACS, the Department of Family and Children's Services, had actually taken the baby away from her and put him in foster care for 4 days. They were concerned how she would treat the child. His
That
family,
may be soon,
the
Nancy
husband.
Grace, but let me ask you this, because
See, how do you switch up here? Okay, Nancy Grace, it was not a good look to go then blame the person that unalived herself after your show. That's not like I get it. That could very well be the case. The lawsuit wasn't about whether Melinda Duckett did something to her son. It was about the fact that Melinda Duckett, unalived herself after this interview, and if that was a direct cause of it. Clearly, they did not necessarily. Yeah, she blamed all of them. They are, Ellie. They are. Even the corner club. That's right, my love. They are. Everybody. But I mean, this is Nancy Grace. It's Nancy Grace. This is Nancy Grace. But let's keep watching.
we have to be respectful of both the situation here. Yes, maybe there were suicide attempts. Maybe you have the state action with the kids. But do you have any reason to believe that this woman did anything to her child?
Well, you know what, Chris? I've handled a lot of murdered cases and missing children cases, and the first person you look at is the person last seen with the child. And she now admits to her attorney, her own lawyer has come forward and stated she grabbed a shotgun, a diaper bag, and the baby hours before he went missing and went on an 8-hour odyssey through Ocala National Forest for target practice. And that is exactly where police are searching today with cadaver dogs, Chris. So maybe we can take a little dose of common sense and figure out where police are headed. But to suggest 15 to 20-minute interview cause someone to commit suicide, I feel is focusing on the wrong thing.
Why do you think it happened?
It should be focused.
Why do you think it
I
happened,
think it
Nancy Grace?
happened
After the interview, within 24 hours, it was a very difficult interview. There was a lot of stress. Do you feel any responsibility?
I think it happened because Melinda Duckett may very well know where her son was. She even told her mother just before she killed herself, Trenton's not coming home, Mom. He's not coming home. How, Chris, would she have known that? If anything, I would suggest guilt caused her to commit suicide. And while I sympathize with her family and know as a firsthand victim of crime myself, you look for somebody to blame, anybody. And today the family is blaming me. And I hate what they're going through. But I would suggest their efforts go toward finding this baby.
The idea of a journalist, an interviewer, and then being a judge or a jury, do you believe that that line has become a little bit blurred? That when you go after someone in an interview, maybe you're taking on a job that's not the job to have?
Ooh, baby Cuomo, look, he said, and that's a great question, because it's still a question applicable here. A question applicable here. As YouTubers, okay, do we take on the job that sometimes is not applicable? Judge, jury, what is it? The executioner of, just the dramatics of it, right? It was Baby Cuomo. That was a great question. Think about it. I want to know in the chat. Let me see if I can get another poll going here, because you guys, that was a great question, even in 2006 for today. Think about it. That was a great question. I want to know, does did Nancy, how about this? Does do YouTubers cross the lines when talking about true crime? Now, I know that everybody's gonna be like, well, what does that mean, Rabbit? What does crossing the lines mean? Sometimes. I'm gonna put sometimes as an option as well. But the lines can get very blurred, right? I get the sense that that's what it is, right? Because she was justifying her actions, right? By blaming the other person. They're blaming me, but it's not about me. It's really about finding this baby, because the woman knew that she did, and knew Nancy knew it, and it was a matter of time before everyone else did, says Vanessa. Shout out to Vanessa. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a great question to ask back in 2006, but let's keep watching.
Sir, I did not go after Melinda Duckett. Correction. Melinda Duckett refused to answer questions to either myself or police about her child's whereabouts. It is highly likely he is dead now because of that.
I understand that, Nancy. Now, let me
All right, let me stop right here, right here, right here. So that was just an idea of her catching heat. Let's see. Let me see, what other one did we miss here? Here we go.
What did you make of this revelation, number one, about the screen, that it's not 10 inches, but it's like a field goal?
Well, at first I was very disturbed, because a factual inconsistency like that can make the difference between a guilty and a not guilty, or to establish reasonable doubt that could cause a hung jury. But then I recall that Josh told me that Trenton's bed was never directly under the window, the way Melinda Duckett told me. It was never configured that way. The bed was actually away from the window, pushed over in the corner. Mm-hmm. So imagine a window in the center of the room, approximately the center of the room, and over in the corner, the child's bed pushed into the corner. So even if the screen were cut differently, you still could not reach in and get the baby out.
And there was someone who saw her come there alone at 4 o'clock, and that's
Without
never
the child.
been. What do you make of this new revelation about the Wendy's employees who say that they saw Melinda and Trenton? What do you think is the?
And even after, she kept doing interviews, and then at some point she stopped after her attorneys got involved. SW 4x4 Explorer says, most definitely Joseph Morris crossed every line. Yeah, you have those people, and I'm going to say that's not a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm a YouTuber, right? And I like to think that, I can do some journalistic things, but it's not the trait that I've studied. And the thing is when people say, and I've heard Miss Bullhorn Betty say it, and I heard that JLR guy who wears the media hat on all the time, we're journalists. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. You're a YouTuber. You're a person with a YouTube channel, okay? And you cover and you give commentary providing this, and then sometimes you make up shit because a journalist wouldn't do that, right? And you air shit that shouldn't be aired, like a fake audio from TikTok, okay? And then try to say that this was the Idaho 4. Or Mr. Joseph Morris, who also made up the what is it, the grab the soundbite from another YouTuber, right? So no, you are not a journalist, because a journalist would know that ethically that's not something that you would do. Giving yourself that title also means that you have the capability of losing something based on your actions, right? So if you think about it, if I say let's just say I went to, which I didn't, I went to journalism school, right? And I decided to take that trade over here. There would be, even though YouTube doesn't have these ethical things, practices, best practices here on YouTube, I would have to apply those based on the fact of my prior training in journalism school, right? They would be implied for me because I've done school and I've brought that trade over here and I've trained under whatever other reporter and I have expertise on this, right? That would make sense. But the people that come up here and say, I am a journalist because they have a media pass, which I don't have a media pass, but I have a prayer card. Look at that. I carry a prayer card with me. And I'd say, this is my media pass, right? Well, that should allow me, and that is the integrity, and that's what I do, and that allow no, 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 ma'am. You're just a YouTuber with a channel who has a little bit of following and then who happens to have people that actually donate to you and allow you to travel out of state. Don't get it twisted. You did not go to J school. You did not you don't. You don't. Okay, the fact that you can sit in front of a PTA or PTO meeting or whatever and sit there and spew all this information and you go up there and you protest in front of people. For me, even advocacy work at its best as somebody who is a social worker and has done advocacy work, you have to show action steps to the things that you do. So if this woman is out there protesting in front of people's houses, say Quentin Simon, I'd like to see the track record of her successful advocacy work. What is your track record? And if you don't have one, then you're just a YouTuber with a channel. That's what you are. Thank you, SW4x4. She says some YouTubers are fantastic. Others are so rotten tomatoes. Jared has made me cautious of who I give money to. Absolutely. Absolutely. It happens. Hey, Iridescent. Welcome, my love. It's crazy. Somebody said in here a really great comment that I wanted to highlight. My God, I missed it. She got her media press pass revoked. Lord, not revoked. Isn't that like free? How do you get something revoked for free? How? Like, don't you pay like something for it? But how do you get it revoked? How do you get something revoked? I don't know. Hey, Blue, welcome. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Thank you. I didn't even see this $5. Thank you so much. I appreciate that you like the discussion. I know you've been here. I don't know why I said welcome, but I appreciate that you guys like the discussion, but it's true though, right? And I think Nancy Grace is somebody, hey, I don't take the crown, right? Because law school's a lot of work, right? Hard work to go to law school to get there. And I would imagine, but I do think that the lines are blurred for her at times, like Mr. Baby Cuomo said. I don't know. Her association to journalism group was revoked, I think. Oh my God. See? But how do you get that revoked when it's like, don't you just pay for that? How do you get something revoked when you pay for it? Is it like they revoke the rec pass? I don't have a media pass, guys. Am I opposed? Let me tell you guys something. I am not opposed, and I'll tell you. If there was a trial here that was a huge thing, right? And I'm local to the area, right? Let's just say. And I decide I'm gonna go cover it. I'm not opposed to covering it. I'm not opposed to telling you guys, like, guys, there's this huge trial and it's going to be happening here, and I'm going to cover it because I happen to have access that's local to me. Now, I'm not going to travel out there to go like I mean, I can. I have children, I have commitments, I have things that I have to do, right? But I'm not opposed to covering. I mean, it would be good. It would be nice, and I like having that interaction with people. But I would do it in the confines and the policies of, is the court aware? Do I need to get a free press pass, or something, right? What policies do I need to follow? Does the court need to be aware? What is it? What paperwork would I need? What permissions do I need? Am I able to record? Can I record with my phone? What would I need, right? Those are things that I would consider. I would not just show up to a hearing and then just be like, all right, guys, I'm gonna cover this trial today. I wouldn't. I don't know. But anyways, adult team 101. We do not have to agree about everything. We can agree. We can disagree, but have a civil conversation about it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm laughing. What are you guys laughing about here? Press pass, you sound like it's monopoly money to me. I mean, I've never looked into a press pass. I'm pretty sure that the guy that wears the media hat probably ordered it from Amazon or something like media. Um, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Some people can self-govern themselves while others cannot. Very true, Priya. Very true. I feel like if she had been boots on the ground completely from day one, then okay. To do it now just for clout. BB Gen 1 says, wow, I don't, that's right. They're saying that the bullhorn lady got her free pass revoked. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate you. I'm a social worker just like Rabbit. Shout out to all the MSWs and the BSWs out there. Oh my God, Rabbit, you're so right. There's only a few YouTubers that I really respect and watch. Oh, thank you, Blondie. Thank you, Blonde Bomb. I didn't think BHB ever had a real one. I thought it was like something from like, you know, Office Depot. I see when people were making these press passes, who was it? Was it Apple? Was it was Apple that I asked. I said, "Can you I want to make one," and they made me one. I thought people were just like printing them off. I didn't know that they were actually getting them. Like why? I don't know. I don't know, guys. You should do a deep dive in the history of Media Hat Guy. He's quite the rap chief. You know what I heard, and the Glare has done a couple of things here and there with that. Shout out to him. I don't know if I can though. True, cause look, when hold on, what happened here? True, cause look, when does jump back to Shankwella, it's gonna be disgusting. Yeah. Nancy was not there alone, like some other YouTubers would maybe. There is with her and the whole production team. Yeah, she's got a whole production team over there. Listen, you can't be a legit reporter unless you have a hat that says media. I'm gonna get a hat that says media. Rabbit Media. That's what I'm gonna do. Y'all need to stop. Let's finish this up with Nancy. Okay, stop being messy.
Best case scenario for Trenton still being alive.
Well, I think that you and I, and many others are trying to apply logic and reason to someone who was acting illogically, specifically Melinda Duckett. There are a lot of scenarios that you can deduce from the Wendy's employees, seeing them 20 minutes passing, seeing Melinda Duckett come back without Trenton. A handoff, some people could deduce a murder from that. Any number of things. It would be more conducive to believing she had handed the baby off in just 20 minutes. The baby's alive. 20 minutes later, she comes through and gets chicken tenders. That is not conducive to the theory that she killed him in those 20 minutes. Add in the factor that no body has been recovered. And police have a pretty good idea as to her whereabouts, her general whereabouts that day. And they have searched those whereabouts based on eyewitness accounts, an ATM, pings off a local cell tower. They can determine her general whereabouts, and his body has not been found.
Mm-hmm.
So that lends to the theory that he could still be alive.
What do you make of this coming in? You have these parallel investigations. You have Leesburg doing their thing and saying, well, she's our main suspect, and that's pretty much all we have. We're going to put our leads back in the computer. Now you have Marion County coming out and saying, we think he's alive. How much of it is kind of hopeful rhetoric, and how much of it do you think is a real case scenario? What do you think is happening?
Here's the bottom line. This is not the first, nor will it be the last time a case has been bogged down over jurisdictional infighting. That doesn't mean the case cannot be solved. It will slow it down. And every day it's slowed down, it slims the chance of finding Trenton.
Is there a specific question you wanted to ask Melinda when she hung up on you?
Looking back on it, there are a million questions I would want to ask her with the knowledge that I have now. At the time I interviewed her, I did not go into the interview suspecting Melinda Duckett. Typically, if there's any wrongdoing within the home with a child disappearance, it's typically the father, the man, the boyfriend, the live-in, the estranged boyfriend. First, if you look back at the interview, started questioning Josh. And I questioned him pretty hard until I was satisfied that he had cooperated with police. He had endured an interrogation by police. He had submitted to a polygraph. All his friends had talked to police that alibied him. And the police had also told me that they had checked out the alibi. When I began questioning Melinda Duckett, I did not go into it thinking Melinda Duckett would turn out the way she did. When she refused to answer questions, refused to give her whereabouts, a timeline, to even state yes or no she had taken a polygraph, and to lay blame in every different direction, I sensed immediately that something was very, very wrong.
That is such a great comment right here, because I do think that that is where the lines are blurred right here. She's trying to imply her logic and reason to an unstable woman. Yeah, Nancy did it. That approach is very wrong. When I've worked in mental health, I used to work in a couple of treatment facilities. I can't apply logic to someone that can't necessarily comprehend logic in that moment, especially when they're in a moment of crisis, right? And for whatever reason, questioning somebody, we don't know, right? Could have very well hindered that for them. We don't know whether she did something or did not do something to her son. Okay. Questioning, okay, in my logic, if you put it as yes or no, did you do something? Even that, it's a pretty yes or no, very black and white question. But the logic that I'm applying isn't always going to be received, the way in which I want it to be directed. There's a power and control dynamic there. Okay. And I think that that's part of the issue here with Miss Nancy Grace is that her approach um, isn't from I'm seeking to understand and this is a safe place. It's from I'm a reporter and I got to get a story through and you just happen to be, in this interview right now and you accepted it and this is your circumstance right now. Your son is missing and the people want to know. And now I'm going to put my cross-examiner prosecution hat on. Okay, that says prosecutor rabbit. Okay. We had media rabbit, now we have prosecutor rabbit. All right. That basically says I feel like there's more to and or what you're not saying is not making sense, right? One of the two. One of the two, you know? I do. I do have a mental health background as well. Okay, let me sorry, because I gotta call my MacBook. Her approach, her application is terrible, questionable. It is. And I think that where Nancy Grace is not even in this questioning, where she's not capturing, I get it. Like she's saying, guys, we have a missing baby boy, right? And we have this mother. I get her side here saying she wasn't honest. Okay. She didn't say the whole truth. And that could have very well been the case. Very well been the case. We don't know. She and what that's the problem. We will never know because she's not here to tell it. Right. But that's where Nancy, I think, is not understanding. It's like, listen, we get it. This is the questioning, but you weren't seeking to understand her dynamic. You were seeking for your audience, right? I don't know. Yeah, very well said. Yep, yep. Sandy, you do not need to sit on your hands, my love. You can participate. You already know. Let me go ahead and hit play on this, okay?
What do you say to people who I know have made the allegation, Nancy Grace, you had something to do with what Melinda Duckett did?
Those allegations are hateful, they are spiteful, and they're also ridiculous. If I could will someone to commit suicide, believe me, Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein and many, many others would be dead long ago. All right. It's impractical, it's illogical, and it's hateful. So I've tried not to dwell on that and those haters and to try to focus my energy and my ability, such as it is, toward helping find Trenton Duckett.
So do you have any regrets about that line of questioning?
No, I do not. I only wish that I could have questioned her more, but there is no way she would have answered any further questions. In fact, the day that Melinda Duckett shot herself, the FBI were en route to the residence at that moment. And instead of meeting the FBI, she killed herself. And of course, my heart goes out to anyone that is in.
Well, she definitely was not well. Let me go back a little bit. Yeah, so I mean Nancy Nancy got it. You know, that day she was, and I mean there isn't a whole lot of videos out there. Mod Nancy Grace's vodka mom commits suicide. There isn't a whole lot of coverage to this anymore regarding this. Team Trenton, Josh Duckett's interview, Trenton Melinda Part 1. You'd have to go back. You have Nancy Grace, Melinda Duckett, O'Reilly. It's kind of a, I mean, it's over several years old. You know what I'm saying?
We've talked about Nancy Grace before,
And my thing is this. Let's make a little comparison, okay? Let's talk about Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil has a show. He interviews people, right? And I think about, and maybe you guys, because I'm on and off on Dr. Phil. I'm not a fan, and then sometimes I'm like, okay, you're all right. Sometimes, right? I feel like he tends to cross the line a lot as well. But let's say that instead of Nancy Grace, it was Dr. Phil. Look at you guys, Lord. I mean, but Dr. Phil is a mental health I'm gonna say self-proclaimed because I haven't seen anything, okay? And he's done a lot of interviews over the years, right? But he's taken on a couple of true crime stories. I'm kind of curious to know, like, and I haven't heard of anybody committing suicide shortly after an interview with Dr. Phil, okay? Unless you guys know of a case, you let me know. But I kind of wonder, um, even then, would there have been a different outcome to this situation? You know, had it been maybe a different person doing that interview? And let me see, somebody put in a really great comment in here. Let me look at this comment. No, you're fine, you're fine. Let me see. I knew I wait, what did you say? She knew that she was unstable because she was already trying to commit suicide. She had a mental health history. That is true. Now, whether Nancy Grace knew about that into before the interview, I'm not really sure. Again, you have to know the person you are interviewing and how long and how to go about the interviewing them. Absolutely. Absolutely. Did he ever not my understanding is that Trenton is still missing till this day. Okay. Blue says Nancy will talk, but not take action, responsible action of an influencer. That's dangerous. And she is an influencer. Hey, Chico, welcome. That's the thing. It's like people look up to her. I mean, I like to listen to some of the stuff that she covers. I don't agree with everything, but I like to listen to it and I like to give commentary to it. Dr. Phil is a real one. Wasn't he exposed almost 20 years ago? LOL. Listen, I don't know. This goes back to the idea of professional ethics. If Nancy Grace was a social worker, she would be held responsible. Oh, yes, she would. Oh, yes, she would. I feel like concentrating on Nancy is taken away from everyone's focus of the loss of the four students, sadly. No relief in dragging someone else down. I hear you, Cindy. I think I I think let me ask you guys this. And maybe that is a before we end the stream, let me end this poll real quick. Um, because Twitter and not just Twitter. I mean, I want to say it's not just Twitter, but the state of Idaho is dragging Nancy Grace, right? They're upset with Nancy Grace. And somebody made a really great comment up here that I want to highlight too, talking about, if the state of Idaho, if the people in the community of Idaho feel offended by Nancy Grace. I don't know who said it because I glanced at it. Whoever said it, if you can type it up again, I would appreciate you. Somebody said in here that if the community is feeling some type of way about her being there, then they're in their every right to feel that way, and therefore she should probably respect that community, because her being there is not bringing that, right? Think of it this way: when the Quentin Simon protesters, I want to say protesters, the hecklers that were out there, they were not welcome. They had to change the time and date for these people because they were disrupting the community, the environment. There was kids in the neighborhood. They were yelling obscenities, all kinds of stuff, right? So think of it that way. They're disrupting a whole community. So if if the community is feeling some type of way about Nancy Grace being there and touring the whole site, the bar, all this other stuff, where do you guys land with that? Is that necessarily hating on Nancy, or is that bringing about a conversation about, yo, like, yeah, thank you, Mike. The community had already said they don't want it. They're dragging her all over Twitter, right? And I don't think it should be a I mean, we have somebody apprehended, but the community is saying we want to heal from this. Please go away, Nancy Grace. Please go away. That's what they've said. I'm curious. You think I appreciate you, Blue, but it's the truth. The community said, "Listen, we're done." Let me not speak for the community because I'm not in Idaho and I don't represent them. All right, but here you go. Twitter, Nancy Grace. Let me get this little banner out. Setting up her little folding table so that she can use the site of a quadruple homicide as a backdrop for her show is both incredibly disgusting and totally unsurprising. Now, it's not just Nancy Grace. There's been other YouTubers out there that have done the same. Okay. I saw this picture and my thought was like, well, Nancy, like you're out there, but we've already had Brian Entin out there. We've had other reporters out there. Can you please stay focused on Shanquella Robertson? That's really where we need a lot of the gas at. That's where we need the heat at. Is Shanquella Robertson. That's a whole different case, and we need more advocacy work there, right? But this is what Nancy Grace and her production have decided to do, right? And let me see what else, because Twitter, listen, is unforgiving. Look at even Iqmel put his results yesterday. And this was YouTube Nancy Grace poll on the House situation. Nancy Grace, not a big deal, 57%. Tone deaf, 26%, 15%, 2.1K votes total. Now, was all of Idaho specifically to that population? Were they in Icamel's chat? I don't know. I don't know if they were there. But if we were just to survey Idaho alone, that community, I wonder what those results would look like. You know, this just happens to be what was done on YouTube, right? Someone says hundreds of people have used this house as backdrop since the murders, but let's give at Nancy Grace a hard time for sitting at a table. Nobody would say a word if it was a popular male reporter. Talk about the double standard. Rose brings up a really good issue. Is it a double standard? Brian Entin didn't put a table. Fair enough. Is it a double standard? I sense that too. I do sense that there might be some double standards here. Okay, but girl, not only did she put a table, she put production lights. Look at those little ring cameras and lights. I mean, she's ready to go. She's looking at that camera. Look, this is the picture that was up there on my community wall. Somebody did this. Look, this is what Ted said. Nancy Grace, as a Moscow native, respectfully, go somewhere else and stop clout chasing and meat riding for innocent students losing their lives. For what you are doing is truly the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen a media member do. Whoo-wee, guys. I get looking around the corner. They aren't sitting around the table. I mean, somebody said in Twitter, this was on Twitter a couple days ago, somebody said that she looked like she had a lemonade stand out there. I said, not a lemonade stand. They did something similar during the Nicole Simpson murder. They sure did. Nancy needs to use her notoriety and resources to help other cases that don't have as much media cover. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, if you can get people this riled up, then you're doing the wrong. You go to the right case. Go to the right case. It looks like it's about to be a parody. It was incredibly insensitive in her part. Look, oh my gosh. If she had pulled this stunt a few weeks ago and no one would care, he's been caught now and the community needs to heal. That's an interesting point. Brienne says, look at this. Honestly, if she had pulled this stunt a few weeks ago, no one would care. But he's been caught now, and the community needs to heal. Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys agree that it's about the timing piece? That there's an issue with timing right here? The community needs to heal. Does anybody agree? I hear what you're saying here, that you're out there, but he's already caught. Like, why don't you put the lemonade stand table next to the prison? I mean, that might make a different, I don't know, catch a different riff. I don't know, you know? You guys agree? You guys agree? Okay. Right, Bell. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know, there's people that just wanted to see her in a glimpse of both. Maybe if she put the lemonade stand table like outside of the jail, that might be the thing. That's my issue. It's late for her. Okay. Okay. Got you. All right. Sasa says 100. Yeah. Okay. I hear you. I hear you. Okay. So this is great. But this is somebody from the community. Somebody here says, somebody look at this, guys. They like effed up her. This is the one that was on the community wall. I said, damn, you guys are really coming in for her. Producer, is this really necessary? Nancy, I made gloves for your green screen. Look. Lord, look at her face. Gosh. Y'all, this is too much. Let's keep it. Let's keep it going. There's Mel again. This was a couple days ago. Look at the glare. Oh my God. And then this is the other YouTuber, okay? The glare says, shout out to the glare at Nancy Grace. Dunn went full on bullhorn when it comes to hashtag tragedy pimping. Seriously, what exactly is the purpose of you posting up at a folding table in front of the crime scene like some kind of fangirl? Have some respect for these victims if you're going to lack any for yourself. Lord, have mercy. Look at this. The glare is not playing today. And then he put the bullhorn lady's face right there. I that you know what, Glare, this is officially this I don't think he's watching anymore, but this is officially your meme right here.
Ay, Dios mío. Cálmate, por favor.
I have to tell the Glare, ay, Dios mío, Glare, you gotta cálmate, por favor. You gotta calm down. I don't know. Cressy says, how long did it remain an active crime scene? Wasn't there a retired cop who claimed to have found gloves? Yeah, Krusty, that's a good point. It would have seemed more predatory either way. Right, right. Remember, who was it? Chris McDonough? Okay, he's also a YouTuber here, okay, who found the gloves, found a glove out there, and then we're talking about the receipt, and then people were kind of going at him. You can I mean, you know, I also believe their community is feeling this way based on the fact that they don't want another 6 months of it. But see, then we have a hearing in 6 months, right? And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know? But let's keep going. So these were just some of the scenes that they captured, guys. Check out the iPad. Guess Nancy Grace is a fangirl after all. I don't know what that is, but then somebody put a picture of Nancy Grace. This is my favorite. Only you, Nancy Grace, talk about dedication. Everybody's feeling a little bit different about this. Here's another one. Nancy Grace is crazy for this. Our tragedy is not your news backdrop. Who the fuck do you think you are? Lord. This is Barstool, Idaho. Vandal Strong. You see that? Our tragedy is not your news backdrop. Who the fuck do you think you are? I hope so. I hope so. You know, it's okay, Victoria. I mean, everybody, like I said, we can agree to disagree. I'm sure there's a lot of people that Glare has that don't necessarily like me, and that's okay. But we're not here to talk about the Glare. I'm just giving him his props on the post. But shout out to him. I have no problems. You guys know we love the Glare over here. Rabbit, do you think I would hope that they would take it down. Community wants some peace and time to heal before the circus that will be descended upon them in the 6 months. Absolutely. I love anyone who exposes tragedy pins. Not a tragedy pin. Lord, y'all going in on poor old Nancy. They Mm-mm. She has no class. Look at this. Always uses tacky words to describe the situation. I can't stand listening to her. She's so rude and downright gross. Ooh, you guys. Hey, Vic. Um, y'all are going in on Nancy. Look at this. Oh my God, this Nancy Grace shit is hilarious. People in Idaho neighborhood have signs and are giving her the finger. Yes, somebody put up a sign that said "fuck Nancy Grace" out in Idaho. Do you see what I'm saying? Like some of this stuff is crazy. Let's see. Someone said, "Why is Nancy Grace sitting at a long white table in front of the Moscow murder house looking like she's about to give a bake sale or sell girl guide? Girl, I think she meant Girl Scout cookies to passerbys. She was about 8 weeks late to the media going show." Ooh. Yeah, why did she show up now? I mean, that's a great maybe she was busy. I don't know, guys. I don't know, but this is her out there as well. Look at this one. Look, this is the one that I was talking about. Now, why did you guys have to bring in Mr. Bernie? Like, listen, Mr. Bernie is not even, I don't know who made this, but it made me laugh. Nancy Grace is ridiculous. Look it. Now, this is Photoshop. You guys got to tell, this is Photoshop right here, okay? The rabbit did not Photoshop anything. This right here was too much, the green gloves. What did Bernie? Why are you guys bringing up Bernie in here? I'm about to tomato everybody in this one. I said, let Bernie be, man. Let Bernie be. Okay, he's over here minding the business. He's not even doing anything. I swear, this photo is like forever iconic. I don't know. This shit is funny as hell. It's not funny what happened, but they're going in on Nancy as they should. Leave them folks alone. Right. I mean, people are saying, but look, Chico, they put Bernie right next to Nancy. I don't know about you, but Bernie looks a little bit more warmer than Nancy. And Bernie's wearing a mask. Bernie's chilling. Shout out to Bernie stuck on strings. The Bernie gloves. Lord. You guys. Oh my God. Yeah, yo. See? This is too much. You guys got to leave Bernie alone. Let this man retire already. Like, why are you guys this is horrible. Look. And of course she has her green gloves. Of course, of course. Oh, how come I can't? I can't. Um, yeah. When I saw that, I said, you guys are horrible. Leave Bernie alone, guys. He's not bugging anybody. How come I can't close it? Here we go. Let me go back a little bit. Yeah. So everybody's going in on Nancy. See, inside the Mad Greek restaurant can really feel like this is a place Zaina K and Maddie M loved. I see why. No, they're going all in. They're touring different areas that they hung out at. Uh, wow. Um, took a screenshot of this from a Moscow friend's IG story. This is terrible. I have to wonder if it was because Nancy was in there the other day or two posting videos and photos from inside and outside Mad Greek. Moscow friends, please support Mad Greek. Oh, wow. What happened? Please spread the word. We need to help at Lift Moscow Greek up. Mad Greek Moscow up. Next time you want to eat out and head to Mad Greek, they need our love more than ever. I've mentioned before that I lived in Idaho town where 4 students were tragically murdered. The place we ordered pizza from was there two of the women worked, was where from the two of the women worked. I was having issues placing an order for takeout. I tried calling several times. Eric finally went in and turned out that they had to turn off their phone system as they were receiving too many harassing calls. So people are harassing the businesses too, guys. People are harassing the businesses. Like, see, this is having a pretty big impact on their town. I suggest you do some research on Chris McDonough, who Nancy Grace continuously has had on panel. You know, the one who planted and then found the gloves. Holy shit. 1122 King Road. He too is a disgrace to too many cases. It's hard to list them all, but you could start with the Stephanie Crow case. It doesn't get any more dramatic as this hashtag or at Nancy Grace anchoring right in front of the site of the Idaho quadruple murder. Lord. Nancy Grace is a blood-sucking ghoul. Oh, wow. Look, here you go, guys. Oh, here you go. Look at that. They put the sign right behind her production thing. I hope Nancy and her team eat at the Mad Creek. They better, and they better tip very well, right? Look at that. Hey, Nay, welcome. Oh my gosh. I'm just playing it over and over. Fuck Nancy. Don't fuck with the Vandal family. I guess this is wow. Let's look at this real quick. All things University of Idaho. So this is like, wow, look at this. So, no. Look what they did with this picture. They put Girl Scout cookies in there. I don't know. I don't know what to say, guys. Where's my coffee? Where's my coffee? Mm-mm. Oh. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, no, no. No, no, no.
Here I come.
They're really going in on Nancy. Lord have mercy. I mean, but if the businesses are being harassed, I guess I could see why, guys. It just anyways, I have no words. No words anymore to this situation. I mean, yes, they put the cookies out. Teresa, they put the cookies out. They went all in and they gave her a hat too. That's what they did. Right, Mama? That's what they did. Well, anyways, guys, I just wanted to have a really great conversation with you guys about this situation. Let me do a little rabbit twerking. Can we do rabbit twerking before we head out? You want to? Yes? Do you have something to say about the situation, Mama? All right, this is for you guys. Thank you guys for those that have joined the membership. And here's a little rabbit twerk. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. I will see if I go live later on tonight. It is Friday, so make sure you guys stay safe. Take care of yourselves and everything. And yeah, please don't be holding out the likes. Hit the like button if you joined me today. If you had a great conversation with me and enjoyed this live, I mean, it's very helpful for the algorithm and for my channel as well. All right, guys, I gotta head out. Rabbits out.